Yeah. You sit in between.
Yeah, is that okay? Or you want to sit together?
I think it would better.
Yeah. Okay, so you will sit here. Oh, why support?
Yes.
Yes.
Interpreter microphone test.
Yes, of course. Do anything you want. Opinion.
Yeah, it's really good.
Your microphone is right here. Your microphone will be right here.
Yes.
So I'll get it started. Okay? Yes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this press conference we are hosting here. We're very honored to have the Honorable Dr. Marie-Agnes Strack-Zimmermann. She's the chair of the Defense Committee of the German Bundestag, the German Parliament, and also co-chair of a delegation here with us. Also, we have another co-chair of the delegation, the Honorable Mr. Johannes Woche. He's the chief whip of the Free Democratic Party in the German Bundestag as well, and also co-chair of a delegation. So we have the two more important figures of a delegation with us. Very honored. We invite them to speak very shortly. And so before that, I also would like to acknowledge some VIPs here with us today. At the audience, we have here Ambassador Vincent Yao. He's Director General of the European Affairs here at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And also we have the spokesperson of the delegation here, Mr. Kurt Schurz, here with us. Yes, and also we have other important members of the delegations and colleagues with us today. Thank you so much for being with us today, attending this very important press conference. So let's first invite Chairperson Dr. Marie-Agnes Strack-Zimmermann to deliver her remarks.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here with our colleagues, and it's for the most of us the first time being here, and it's important to come. And the reason is a very simple one. We have now nearly for 1 year a terrible war in Europe. Russia attacks Ukraine with all these terrible pictures, you know it. And that's the reason why the whole world, not only Europe, not only Germany, is really, it's a challenge more than for Europe, for the whole world. And so it's very important to see not only our area where we live and where we make politics, it's also very, very important to see what happens on the other side of the world, here in your region. And you could see that other countries also looking to Ukraine, and it was for us very important to hear, and really a special moment when your foreign minister explains us what Taiwan did when the war started. It's really impressive to see the donation, first medical things you sent to Ukraine. And for people in Germany, you know, they are astonished that countries so far away on the other side of the world are ready to help the Ukraine. And it shows that the democracy, that the free world has to stand together in this case. And so this war in the Ukraine changed a lot. And our Chancellor was talking about a Zeitenwende. It's really a new moment in our life. And so it's so important, that's the reason why we are here with our colleagues, to come to share our freedom, our democracy, our idea of a free life, also on this side of the world.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Chairperson. We need translation. 家好, thanks.
非常感谢，我很荣幸能够来到这边跟我的同事在一起。对我们访团的多数的成员来讲，我们都是第一次访问台湾，我们也觉得访问台湾非常的重要，因为俄罗斯入侵乌克兰这场战争已经打了将近1年了，我们也看到了许多残酷的影像。事实上呢，无论是德国、欧洲，甚至乃至全世界，都在面临非常严峻的挑战。 因此这不是只是我们居住的欧洲地区，在世界另一端的就是各位所在的亚太地区呢，也同样面临着同样的挑战。那其实非常多的全世界各个国家都在关注着乌克兰的情势。那我之前也是听外交部长吴部长呢分享的就是台湾如何在战争初期慷慨的捐助许多给乌克兰的物资，尤其是医疗物资，我感到非常的钦佩。德国的人民也是，原来远在地球另一端的台湾，也都准备好要援助乌克兰。因此，我们也看到了整个自由世界以及所有的民主国家也都团结了起来。的确，乌克兰的情势改变了许多。我们的德国总理也认为说，乌克兰的战争也开启了一个新时代。正在这个新时代的同时，我们也来到台湾，跟台湾一起共享民主以及自由的生活方式。
Thank you very much. I would like also to invite a chairperson of the Honorable Mr. Bohe to deliver his remarks.
你好。Thanks, Madam Speaker. We are here in Taiwan, and Taiwan is at the forefront of a new systemic competition we have in the 21st century. And the questions arising this systemic competition are questions of freedom. And as the Free Democrats Party parliamentary group, we care about these questions. We want Germany and Europe being more interested in and engaged in Pacific questions, and that's the main reason why we had this delegation here. To learn, exchange views, get new impressions, but also to send a signal, a gesture of support. Because one of the things we learned is that nearly every day Chinese aircraft and ships are crossing the middle line of the Taiwan Strait, and our position is pretty clear. A change of the status quo in the Taiwan Strait is only thinkable by mutual agreement and in a peaceful way. And any attempt to change the status quo in the Taiwan Strait and in this conflict by force or threatening to do so is unacceptable. And that's the second reason why we're here, to send a signal that we want to give you a gesture of support and that we care about these issues.
Thank you very well. So thank you so much, Mr. Bohe. Translation, 家好。
大家好，我们这一次访问台湾，是因为台湾也在站在一个所谓的系统性的竞争的最前线，而这个系统性的竞争攸关着自由以及民主。我们德国自民党非常关切这个自由民主的生活以及这个系统性的竞争，也希望整个德国乃至于欧洲也都能够多关注这个议题。因此，我们这次特别访问台湾，来向台湾这边学习，跟台湾这边交流，也要向台湾释出我们支持台湾的一个讯号。那我们这一次访问台湾也认知到了，每一天共机以及共建都跨越着台海中线。那我们的立场就是，如果台海的现状要改变，应该要立基于和平以及两岸的共识之上。任何以武力片面改变现状或威胁使用武力都是不可接受的。这也是为什么我们要访问台湾，就是要表明我们的立场，支持台湾，并且呢表达我们对这个议题的关切。
Thank you very much. Now, with the permission of the two co-chairs, I would like to open the floor for the questions. Wow, so many questions. Okay, we do one here, and then we come back here, okay? We do first, if okay, William from Deutsche Welle. Yes.
Thank you so much. William Yang, Deutsche Welle, East Asia correspondent. My question is for both members of the delegation, is that as we know, this trip has a lot of symbolic meaning, but like in your view, what are some of the concrete steps that Germany can take to also contribute to the security environment or ensuring the peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we do first Deutsche Welle, then we do DPA, then we come back to Ben, and then we do another one to Taiwan News. Is that okay? And then so we take aisles. Okay, so for that question, if thank you. Yeah, whichever you would like. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, the Taiwan Strait, it's not only a military topic. It's even for Germany. So you asked me as a German politician. it's very important we have in this world, the rules that everybody could use the open water, the open sea. And so it's not only, of course, a question for Taiwan, it's also a question for the free world, for free trade, that this is an open sea. And so it's important that everybody can cross the sea, wherever the ship is coming.
Very well, thank you. And translation, we allow first translation that we.
台海的问题不只是军事的问题，事实上，我身为一个德国的政治人物，我坚定的相信台海是一个开放的水域，根据我们国际的法规。因此，这不光是攸关台湾的问题，这是攸关整个自由世界的问题，攸关整个自由贸易的问题。我相信台海既然是个开放水域，就应该大家都有这个权利去进行自由航行。
Yes, Mr.
I'd add that, first of all, it is a step if Germany is more involved in Pacific questions. And second of all, you might heard that in Germany there is an ongoing debate about a new China strategy. Perhaps new China strategy isn't even putting it correctly because it's the first China strategy. And I think it's rightly so that we have these debate and have this process and bringing a China strategy to life. And of course, we as parliamentarians of the Free Democrats, as one of the parliamentary groups who are forming the coalition in Germany, we will bring our perspectives in this discussion. And of course, we learn from a trip, get new perspectives, and we think, for example, that there has to be an economic dimension. That we should think about how can we rebalance, for example, dependencies on the Chinese market. It's part of this, it needs to be part of this strategy. And third, we think that being more aligned with partners, with like-minded partners, to stand together as democratic societies and to do concrete steps to cooperate more between the European Union and Germany as an important state in the European Union, the transatlantic partnership, and, for example, states like Australia, New Zealand, South Korea, Japan, and to act more together in these questions should be also part of such a strategy.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we invite Zhahao for translation.
来补充一下，就是我们德国的确应该要采取具体的行动来进一步去因应所谓的太平洋的一个问题。因为事实上，在我们德国的国内呢，我们都有一直在讨论所谓的对中关系的新战略。他说是新战略，不如说是首次的战略，因为我们是第一次要讨论这样子一个战略。那我觉得像这样子的讨论也正是时候，要来产生一个合适的对中战略。那我们自民党的党团乃至于我所属的这个联合执政的政府来讲，我们也希望说能够把这些观点呢带入到这个新战略当中。那再加上此次访问台湾也带来了一些新的观点，都能够带回德国去一起来讨论这个新战略。我认为说，举例来讲，就是这个战略呢，应该要再纳入所谓的经济的面向。就是说，我们德国长期以来对中国的市场这么高度的依赖，要如何重新去平衡，这很重要的。那再来就是说，理念相近的伙伴应该要一致团结，跟民主的伙伴们一起来采取具体的行动，要带来更多的合作。例如说，像是德国作为欧盟的一部分，当然也要有更多的合作。除此之外呢，在大西洋的另外一岸的对岸，美国、加拿大那边也应该要有更多的合作，甚至应该纳入更多的国家，诸如纽西兰、澳洲、南韩以及日本等等，这应该都是对中新战略的部分之一。
Thank you very much. Right now, we take question from this aisle. DPA Deutsche Press. 德通社玉慈。
Hello, DPA German Press Agency. Sorry about that. I have a question about Taiwan and the international organizations. What concrete measures will you take to help Taiwan play a bigger role in international organizations and on the world stage? Thank you.
Well, first of all, I say that we, as Free Democratic Parliamentary Group, think that it is possible without diplomatic recognition, under diplomatic, below diplomatic recognition, according to the one China policy Germany, like all European states, have and will have, it is possible to get Taiwan more involved in international organizations. And we've seen that in the past, for example. One concrete steps we'd support would be reactivating the observing status in the WHO assembly Taiwan once had. And that is one example for concrete steps we'd be supporting and we want to bring forward.
Thank you very much. Translation, Jia Hao, thanks.
身为德国的国会议员，我认为，即便跟台湾没有正式的邦交关系以及外交的承认，仍然还是有可能去在一中政策的框架之下，去进一步支持台湾在国际组织的参与。例如说，台湾就曾经是世界卫生大会的观察员，那我们也支持台湾就是恢复这个观察员的身份，这是可能的。
Thank you very much. We take question from this side. Ben Blanchard, bureau chief from the Reuters.
Thank you very much. The Taiwanese semiconductor company TSMC has been considering an investment in Germany for at least 2 years now, if not longer. It appears there hasn't been much progress. I know the European countries, the EU especially, is very keen to encourage Taiwanese semiconductor companies to build factories in Europe. On your visit here, did you have any discussions with any government ministers or the president even about the TSMC potential investment in Germany? And do you expect that TSMC will end up building a factory in Germany? I believe the speculation is it will be in Saxony. Thank you.
No, we didn't talk to them. We didn't meet them.
我们并没有跟台积电任何人接触。
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. Okay, we do this. We do Yugen first, and then we do it later. Oh, James, yeah. Yugen? Taiwan News.
Last week, the former NATO Secretary General urged military cooperation between NATO and Taiwan. What are your thoughts on this, and do you think Germany will follow suit?
Okay, it's a question about the former NATO Secretary General Rasmussen's recommendation. Yes. There you have any comment.
The thing is that Mr. Rasmussen is a former head of the NATO. So he could see whatever he wants to see.
事实上呢，拉斯穆森前执行长他是一个现任的前执行长，所以他有话他比较能够说，他比较有他自己的观点。
Okay, next question. Okay, yeah, James Carter, yeah.
Hi there. I wanted to ask about, you just mentioned there about economic dependencies and a strategy of Germany weaning the country off economic dependencies, maybe of Russia, of other authoritarian states. I wonder if there were any discussions during your trip on how Taiwan might be able to contribute to that broader strategy of weaning Germany off dependencies on autocratic states, whether that's Russia or China.
Well, I'd say, first of all, it's one thing we have to solve ourselves with a strategy. And to say it pretty clear, in Germany, we has been too dependent on Russian gas. And we cannot be that dependent whatever or in whatever area or in whatever way to an authoritarian regime, an authoritarian state. So we should work on rebalancing this, like I said. And one way, for example, to do that for us is to bring up new free trade measures. Right now, at the end of last year, we finally ratified CETA, the free trade agreement between the European Union and Canada in the Bundestag. It had been blocked for years, and it was one thing we pretty much cared about as Free Democrats to bring that forward. We want to, and the Bundestag adopted a motion that the Bundestag, the Parliament, supports a restart of a free trade agreement with the United States of America. We have ongoing talk with Asia and with Australia, and we should bring that to a success. That, for example, will contribute to that. And of course, we also like to see Taiwanese or in German investment in Taiwanese and vice versa. It's not for us to decide what concrete steps concrete companies do, but we encourage them, and we encourage Taiwanese officials, for example, or companies to consider German technology when it comes to buying planes or trains or whatever, because it helps and it brings us all together in the right direction.
Thank you very much. 嘉豪 thank you. Translation.
我们德国必须要自己厘清我们自己的对中战略，还有对整个广大的世界的战略，因为我们在德国呢，事实上我们的确太依赖俄罗斯的廉价天然气了，我们必须要降低这方面的依赖程度，甚至呢，对于所有的独裁国家、威权国家，在任何领域、在任何的形式的这些依赖呢，我们必须要予以减少。这就是我先前说的所谓的再平衡、重新平衡的重要性。那要达到重新平衡，其中一个重要的做法，就是我们要去进行新的自由贸易的措施。例如说，像去年底，我们在德国的国会呢就已经批准了欧盟跟加拿大之间的新的自由贸易协定。那事实上，我们在德国国会也提案了，希望说我们支持重启跟美国之间的自由贸易协定，甚至我们也将会持续的贡献，促成我们跟东协以及澳洲等国家的贸易协定。那事实上，我们也希望能够看见台湾跟德国双方互相都有更多的投资。当然，个别企业想要投资什么，我们没有办法智慧，但是我们会鼓励各个德国企业、台湾企业，甚至鼓励德国跟台湾的政府跟官方，如果希望像例如说要采购飞机或者是火车、列车等等的，都能够优先考量采用德国的科技。
Thank you very much. Want to check? Yes, please. Yes.
Thank you, David Demes for German Table Media and Tagesspiegel. I have two questions, one for the Honorable Johannes Vogel. Recently, your colleague, Peter Haidt, publicly expressed his support for a trip to Germany by Taiwan's Foreign Minister, Joseph Wu, possibly through the invitation of a think tank like in 2021 when he went to Prague, Bratislava, and Brussels. Are you open to such a trip by the minister, and will you advocate for the coalition government to lift the travel restrictions imposed on Taiwan Speak 7? And then another question for the Honorable Dr. Strack-Zimmermann. From the very beginning of Russia's attack on Ukraine, you have been advocating for the delivery of heavy weaponry to Kyiv, to Ukraine, even against strong opposition from your own government. In an interview we did in November with Taiwan's former chief of the General Staff, Li Ximing, he asked that the West, and particularly Germany, should do more for Taiwan's defensive capabilities, for example, through the sale of manpads like portable surface-to-air missiles. How do you see Li's demand, and will you support a decision by Germany's Federal Security Council to allow the export of weapons to Taiwan before a possible conflict might break out? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be inviting the chairperson to speak freely. Yes. Translation? Yeah, what translation for that? 我们先 translation.
就是说，您怎么样看待 就是说，如果邀请台湾的外交部长到访问德国去官方的访问，因为之前2021年当吴部长访问欧洲的时候，事实上就已经有讨论过，就是柏林方面联合执政政府是不是有意想要去另外修订的相关的规定，能够允许台湾的外交部长能够访问柏林，还有官方访问德国。再来就是随着俄罗斯入侵乌克兰呢，史奇曼主席也曾经提倡过要销售重型的武器给乌克兰，那这一点跟联合执政的政府的意见呢是相左的。那事实上，去年11月，台湾也有就有前将领呢，也都公开的认为说，其实德国的政府应该要支持台湾，甚至向台湾销售所谓的可稀释的地对空这样子的一个飞弹武器系统等等。那对于德国销售相关的武器系统给台湾，您怎么看待？
Well, first of all, David, nice to meet you in person after we just had coverage and had interaction on social media. We all know that the whole situation in the Taiwan Strait is complex, also when it comes to international law, diplomatic questions. And in Germany, we have the division of power, and I respect what's for the government to decide. But as a parliamentarian, I say we as parliamentarians are free to travel and to meet whomever we want to meet, and that's why we're here and met Taiwanese officials, including the foreign minister here in Taiwan, and there's a reason why we're doing so.
Excellent, great. Only translation, 嘉豪, thanks.
我们知道台海两岸的关系十分的复杂，然后在德国，我们的政治是三权分立的，因此呢，行政权也就是政府方面，当然我们是予以尊重，但是身为国会议员，我自己也有我可以决定我到哪里旅行，还有去见到台湾官员这样子的一个自由哈。那当然能够见到的官员也包括了台湾的外交部长。
Thank you, Madam.
Okay, to answer your question, yes, nice to see you behind the mask, but we have an idea how we look all together. So, yes, we have a discussion always in Germany about delivery of weapons. You know this, it's a long story, nearly 1 year now, but it changed. Now we do a lot, and we did a lot, more than 200 billion euro weapons, but also economic and humanitarian help for the Ukraine. And the situation here is a different one. Our role is less military here. It's an economic question that we have, like Johannes Vogel said, we need a China strategy. What's the question of economic with China, and so that is our role. It's not a military one here.
Thank you. Yeah, 嘉豪 translation. Thanks.
我们在德国的确都有加以讨论，就是说，因为乌克兰战争打了快1年了，那这1年多以来，我们都持续在讨论要如何交付武器给乌克兰方面。那我们也实际上也做了很多，这1年多以来，我们也是大概交付了价值大约是超过2000亿欧元的武器给乌克兰，那也提供乌克兰很多的人道援助，这是乌克兰方面的问题。但是谈到两岸问题，那当然就比较没有那么多的军事方面的意涵，反而比较多是经济方面的问题。因为我们现在也在讨论所谓的对中新战略，因此呢，这当中当然也有就是我们要怎么样去重新检讨跟中国之间的经济关系。
Thank you very much. Now we take questions from the aisle. Okay, yes, please. 新唐人 right? Yes.
是新唐人有2个问题提问，一个是德国对中新战略这个草案将人权定调为这个关系的核心，那认为可以怎么样具体的去落实？那第2个问题是中国疫情不透明，那欧盟建议成员国采取防范措施，可是中共威胁对等的报复，那中共已经停发了日本、韩国公民的签证，您认为欧洲国家应该可以如何的因应呢？谢谢。
Thank you from New Tang Dynasty from Yongru. We need translation for these 2 questions. Thank you.
As you mentioned before, the German government is about to issue a document on the new China strategy, and is human rights going to be at the core of this new China strategy? And also, China is experiencing massive COVID outbreaks, but information is very much opaque. The European Union has suggested that its members take protective measures, but China has threatened to retaliate. And China has now stopped issuing visas to Japan and Republic of Korea citizens. How do you think European countries should respond?
Okay, we'll be allowing the chairpersons to respond freely.
Well, to the China strategy, yes, there is an ongoing debate, and I think it's good that we are bringing up a proper China strategy. And for a proper strategy, there has to be a discussion process, and it has to be well thought. And we want to bring our perspective in. And of course, human rights is one aspect, and a very important aspect. But other aspects I briefly mentioned earlier will also be and should also be, in our view, part of that strategy. To your second question, sorry, give them some time for
COVID
translation.
in China. COVID in
Allow
China.
translation. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, COVID in China, and how do you think European countries should respond?
To
No,
the
your
COVID
translation.
restriction. Yeah, I wanted to give you the opportunity to translate
yeah,
first.
yeah.
All right.
I haven't forgot it. I'll
就
answer
针对
it.
第一个问题哦，的确
Please.
我们在德国一直都有在讨论所谓的对中新战略。那当然能够有这个战略是好事，这个战略应该要妥善，应该要周全，应该要囊括所有的观点。那人权一定是要纳入的其中的观点之一。那其他的观点当然我刚也提到了经济等。
And to the other question, the reaction to the COVID travel restrictions to Europe for Chinese citizens. As at the moment I realized that left me curious, and I'd say it's a little something of mild bizarre, because we've seen for years now very heavy travel and immigration restrictions at the moment where we had low COVID cases in China and high COVID cases in Europe. The other way around, they had very heavy immigration and travel restrictions, and now it's the other way around. We're getting into a phase of an endemic situation in Europe, and for example in North America, and right now there's heavy COVID, many cases in China, and that's why the governments took these restrictions. I think it's their right to do so. If I may speak as a world citizen, I think we all should work for the situation that the sooner the better, get in an endemic situation all over the world and get past this horrible pandemic.
Thank you, Mr. Honorable. That we need translation. 嘉豪。
对于中共有可能采取的做法，以及我们欧洲应该因应的方式，事实上，我觉得中国目前的情势其实说起来算是还蛮奇怪的，因为在之前呢，当中国的疫情比较在低点，而欧洲的疫情比较严重的时候，那个时候我们的确有蛮多的旅行限制。但现在反过来了，就是说在北美洲、欧洲等大部分的地区，基本上都是跟病毒共存的现象，反而是中国在经历了一场疫情的爆发期。当然，中国他们面临这样子的爆发，他们国内要怎么防疫是他们自己的权利。但是我身为一个世界公民，我自己最期望的当然还是全世界能够同步的一起跟这个病毒共存。
Thank you very much. I'm conscious of the time. Okay, we do. How about we take the last round of questions? So okay, so you can all express your question, and then we allow them to speak freely. Okay, right? We go for this side first. They haven't spoke yet. So we start from the lady, and then so Xiao Joe. Yes. Okay, you can express.
I'm News Lo Ying, and I want to ask Chairman that you just mentioned the German economy remains heavily dependent on China. So how do you persuade people, German people, business, and government, and maybe your colleague in your party, to turn more support on Taiwan's side, in addition to just the value of democracy and freedom? And another question is that German Chancellor Scholz just visited China in November. Is your visit design reflect different voice toward Taiwan's stray within your party? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Also, Xiaoqiao, also I thought Joe, you raised your question, yes.
Hi, I'm Joe from Taiwan Central News Agency. First of all, welcome to Taiwan. I have two short questions. One is that we have learned that in such previous press events with other lawmakers from other countries, said they have been like threatened or expressed concern by the Chinese diplomats back in their country before they visit Taiwan. And I'm not sure if you have that kind of experience when they know that you are visiting here. Have you got any concern or expressed threat from them? And the second question is, I know you are here for basically for economic trips. So what is your major takeaway in the Taiwan trips? I know you have visited the Hsinchu Science Park and some takeaways from this trip. Thank you.
Can you restart the first question? We want to make sure we all get your question. No, the lady, yes. What's your question?
My question is because Germany economy remains heavily dependent on China. So now, how do you persuade German people and business or government or like your colleague in your party to turn more aside to support Taiwan? In addition, just not just mention democracy value or freedom value.
Okay, all right, we'll note it. Oh, shall we do these questions, this aisle first, these four questions first, and then we come here, right? Okay, last round, yes.
Like I said before, it's part of the strategy process we're in Germany right now, and I think there are concrete tools thinkable who supports this process. For example, we called for in Germany we call it China stress test. So to bring more transparency on dependencies, that might catalyze the debate. And what we're seeing is that the example of the heavy dependency we've seen on Russian gas, that already changes the debate in Germany, that a lot of companies, for example, small and medium-sized companies in the highly industrialized areas, family-owned businesses, we have a lot in Germany, already thinking about realizing that dependency, how dangerous too heavy dependencies can be, and that diversification is a good idea. So I think the thinking process already underway, and the China strategy process from political side can even bring it further.
Okay, yes, yes. Yeah, we'll do translation then. Thank you, madam.
就像我先前提过的一样，就是我们一直持续的在思考所谓的对中新战略，讨论也在持续进行当中。然后在整个讨论的过程当中，我们也是希望说能够透过一些工具，能够加速我们讨论的进程。例如说，我们有所谓的对中依赖的压力的测试，希望说透过这个压力测试，能够让整个对中国的依赖的程度能够更加的透明化，这样子才能够有助于我们讨论的加速。那再来就是说，我们的确也重新检讨了我们对于俄罗斯天然气的过度依赖，这也大大的改变了我们德国国内的许多中小企业，尤其是在工业领域当中的中小企业，大家都在检讨要如何去降低对俄罗斯天然气的依赖程度，大家都一起了解到这个依赖的危险性，以及这个多角化的分散风险的必要性。所以呢，就像我说的一样，这个思考的过程、讨论的过程持续进行当中，而我们持续在加入对中国战略的这样子的检讨，也能够再加速，进一步加速，并且拓展这方面的讨论跟思考。
Thank you, inviting Madam Chairperson.
Yes, thank you very much. We are happy that we are here, and we feel very comfortable. Even the ambassador of China was not so happy about our trip to this place. But anyway, that's a good side of the story. We are a free country in Germany, so the ambassador could say whatever he wants to say. And the other side, also very wonderful, is that we are parliamentarian and we could travel wherever we want.
Excellent. The Jiahao translation. Thanks.
当然，就是说，当中国大使得知我们要访问台湾的时候，他也不是很高兴，但是我们也不以为意，因为我们觉得说，反正这是一个好现象，毕竟德国是一个自由的国家，中国驻德大使他可以表达他想表达的意见，而我们身为德国国会议员呢，也有我们的自由，想要去哪里就去哪里。
Thank you very much. Okay, we do here. Last round, we do, okay, first Ben and then William.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. You said, answering my colleague's question about weapons sales to Taiwan, you said don't have a military role here. Taiwan on a daily basis faces a military threat from China, including in August when China staged war games near here. China fired missiles over Taipei. Do you not think that Germany, along with other Western democracies, have a moral obligation to support Taiwan, not only with good words and visits, but also to ensure that Taiwan has the means to defend itself, including providing Taiwan with appropriate weapons in case China does attack? Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. William?
Just to follow up on that question is that I think Germany has long been criticized as a country that really prioritized business and economic interest over like the values of democracy and security. So like through this trip and through like from what I know is that there is also an Indo-Pacific strategy that is underway right now being discussed inside the coalition government. So how do you try to shake off that stereotype that has been tacked onto Germany for so many years to convince the world that Germany, the current government, is going to have a different approach compared to the past approach adopted by the CDU government and under Angela Merkel?
Thank you very much. With that, okay, we wrap up the question. Shall we allow translation, or are you? Yeah, translation, and then we invite the chairperson to speak freely.
台湾每天都受到中国的军事威胁，尤其8月之后，还出现了大规模的军演，以及甚至有中国的飞弹飞过台北的上空。那您认为德国以及其他西方的民主国家是否有道德义务，不只是要透过言语跟透过访问团支持台湾，更是应该要确保说台湾有这个自卫的能力，尤其是台湾在面临可能的中国的攻击的时候，应该要妥善的武器装备呢？那再来就是长期以来德国被批评认为说是一个以商业以及经济利益为优先，反而民主以及安全等价值次之。那透过此次访问，再透过大家所知呢，事实上当前的德国的联合政府也在讨论所谓的德国版的印太战略，试图用这样的方式，看能不能够去摆脱大家对德国这样子的一个成见哦。那您认为这些做法是否能够说服给全世界，让全世界知道说现在当前的德国政府与过去的政府不同了，有不同的做法
？Thank you for inviting the chairperson to speak freely.
Yes, first I try to answer. You know, the thing is, if you're a politician, time changed and the challenges changed. And so we see what happens in Ukraine. And it's a terrible attack to the free world, for example, in Ukraine. And so if things are changed, we have to need new discussions. And of course we have new discussions in Germany. And for many people in Germany, it's a wake-up call, because all of us, nobody could imagine what happens now. And so it's a new government, a new situation, a terrible war, and so we have to find new answers.
Thank you very much. I will translation for yes. Thank you.
那事实上呢，在政治这个行业当中呢，随着不同的时代都有不同的挑战。那例如说，我们现在见证到了在乌克兰发生的悲剧，对我们整个自由世界来讲，这都非常的悲惨。因此，当有出现不同的挑战的时候呢，当然就必须要有不同的讨论。 事实上，我们在德国的确也有新的讨论，因为对许多的德国人来讲，乌克兰战争真的是一记醒钟哦。毕竟大家事先都没有办法想象到，原来会有如此残酷的战争在这个时间点发生。
Yes, for the chairperson, Volker.
Yeah, I'd also add some thoughts on both of the questions. First to yours. One could also say not only the world, but also China has changed. China's system under Xi Jinping has changed. And so the China policy of Germany and other nations has to change. And that's why we're in this process. And part of it is, of course, that we see it we take it very seriously, what I said at the very beginning, and it is a moral obligation, I think, of everybody to avoid military aggressions in the Taiwan Strait. And then one has to think, what can you bring on the table? And we think the economic dimension of avoiding a horrible scenario is something we can effectively bring on the table. And actually, to be honest, we feel very encouraged in this view through this trip and the discussions we had. And that's why we bring this into the debate. We'll bring this into the debate as our perspective in Europe.
Thank you very much for these words. 嘉豪 translation. Thank you.
不只是这个世界的局势在改变，事实上，中国在习近平的领导之下也大有改变。因此，无论是德国还是世界各个国家的对中政策，也必须要有所改变。那这是一个在持续的过程。那事实上，我们德国很重视的一个所谓的道德义务呢，就是要尽我们的一己之力来避免台海出现军事冲突。那再来下一步就是我们要了解如何做到去避免这样子的冲突。那事实上在避免台海冲突的经济面向，我相信德国是很有能力能够有效做到的。那此次访问台湾，我们对于这样子的一个想法跟角度也受到更大的鼓舞。我们会把这样子的一个角度，我们所受到的鼓舞带回德国，来加入我们在德国的对中政策讨论。
Thank you, Madam.
Yes, I want to add your question about the Ukraine and the delivering of weapons. You know, the thing is that years ago it was not the first attack against on Ukraine; it was the second one, and it was attack Russia on Libya, on Moldavia, on Georgia, and so it's time that Europe has to wake up. What happens in front of the own door. And that's the reason why we delivered weapons to this area. And of course, we have a discussion in Germany, I told already, but we are on the right way because this fight, it's first a fight in Ukraine, and but it's a fight against the free democratic world. And it started in Europe. It's not far away from Berlin. It's by plane nearly 2 hours. And I traveled for 2 times in the Ukraine, and I saw all these terrible things. And I could tell you, it's right what we do, and it's a different situation. And you explained it already, what our role here is.
Thank you very much, Jaha.
So you're basically saying that Germany should not and will not sell weapons to Taiwan?
There is no question to send weapons to Taiwan. That is not the question. We talked a lot here with people, with the politics, and the question is not, please Germany send us weapons. The questions are totally different. It's, please look forward if you are in a trade to China. It's not a question of military equipment. I think there are different partners here.
Thank you very much. 嘉豪 translation. Thank you.
我们在乌克兰武器交付的部分当然这件事情首先的第一个前提就是说，这次并不是俄罗斯第一次入侵乌克兰，而是第2次，而且在这段时间之内，俄罗斯甚至入侵了利比亚跟乔治亚等国家，因此是时候我们要醒来了。因此我们醒悟了之后呢，我们的确就把武器也交付给乌克兰。那因为呢，乌克兰毕竟离柏林并不远，是我们在同一个地区当中为自由而奋战。事实上，我在战争的期间，我也造访了乌克兰2次，也在第一线见证到了在乌克兰的悲剧。不 不过在台湾这边的问题呢，就是我此次访问台湾所接触到的所有的台湾的各级的官员，基本上对我们所提出的问题，从来都不是希望德国卖武器或交付武器给台湾，大家对我们访问团提出的问题都是要怎么样进一步增进台德之间的经贸关系，以及讨论对中国贸易还有经济的依存的问题等等。因此呢，都一直对台湾交付武器一直都不是一个被讨论的议题之一。
Thank you. If there's no any additional comment, I would like really to thank for the leadership of both of them, Dr. Marie Strack-Zimmermann, and also for Honorable Johannes Woche, for their leadership in bringing along. There's a large group of 10 parliamentarians for the Free Democratic parties from the German Bundestag. This is the third delegation from the German Parliament, one of the most important, no doubt of that. Thanks for their leadership in bringing along so many important parliamentarians with us. I think their presence alone, it means a lot to us, and we want you to come back to Taiwan again and again. Thank you so very much also for the presence of you, for making it possible. And as a per request of the reporter, shall we do like a photo or session, inviting Ambassador Vincent Yao, please, to join us for the photo session, and we do an ending. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's very